Welcome to another episode of Mexican in the Kitchen. I don't very often bake or make sweet things, but this time I felt like having some dessert. And I'm gonna use lime because it's a very important ingredient in Mexico. We basically use it for many different things. We use it in the soup, we use it in beer, we use it on top of maybe some vegetables or some fruit, then seasoned with chili. It's something we use a lot. And especially people who have been to Mexico have told me they're surprised because they always expect chili to be the main thing we use, but they really get surprised on the amount of things we use lime for. So now what I did was I bought 6 limes. I'm going to cut them in half and I'm going to squeeze the juice into a glass. You can squeeze it by hand. Some people use the fork to help themselves if the limes are not the best and they're a bit hard. If you have a lemon squeezer or lime squeezer, then it's way nicer. But the main idea is that you have to get as much of that juice into the glass. Here you can see I already got about half a glass. It's more than enough. We're going to save it and use it later. I'm going to use a blender for this recipe. You could use an immersion blender. You could use probably a hand mixer. I haven't tried, but I'm sure it works. And we're going to start this with a can of condensated milk. They're usually around the same size. This one is almost 400 grams. Basically the measurements are quite easy to get because it's like one can. It's quite easy, just go for it. You'll have to probably let it ooze out of the can. So what I do is just make the can stay there, wait for it for a few minutes. For the next step, I would use evaporated milk, but I cannot find it here. So I'm going to use this cojukerma. It's something like double cream, very similar to whipping cream. It's not quite there, but it's very close, and I'm going to use 4 deciliters of it. Next thing I'm going to do is to cover my blender, and I'm going to do this so I can mix both ingredients. You will see that the thickness of the condensated milk makes it a bit hard to mix, but after a few seconds you will notice everything starts mixing. So just give it some time. You will notice the cream also gets a bit fluffy, gets a bit creamier. And what I'm going to do now is take my lime juice and pour it through the small opening on the lid. You will notice it immediately becomes thicker. The citric acid and the milk have this weird reaction that this mix will become really thick, and that's exactly what we want, but we don't want to stop mixing. We want the mixture to be thick everywhere. So what I'm going to do is open this. I stopped my blender. I'm gonna mix it a bit. I'm using a knife, you can use a spoon, whatever you want. I just want to make sure that we will have the same on the top as in the bottom. And I'm going to put my blender on again for a few minutes. Maybe 1 or 2 are enough. You will notice the mixture starts to become more smooth, more even, and that's exactly what we want. I want to show you how thick this mix is, and this is basically the texture you will get, and that's exactly the texture we want for dessert. Now making the pie is extremely easy. We will use Marie cookies. They're very simple cookies, not very sweet. They don't have a very strong flavor, so they're perfect for this. You could maybe use any other kind of cookie you want, but this is the ones that we use in Mexico, and they're pretty similar to what we have here, so I'm sticking to these ones. And what we're going to do is we're gonna set a layer. Try to make it as close as I can. It doesn't matter if you have gaps between them, because the thick mixture will go there, and it's not a big deal, no one will notice, but you can maybe break the crackers and just put small pieces in the gaps you have. Try to fill it as much as you can. Once we have our first layer ready, we're going to put some of our mixture on top. And you want to be very careful, because when you're spreading this mixture, the cookies might come all over the place. Just be careful, try to do it very gently. You can use a spoon to help yourself. Make sure it goes everywhere. Make sure you cover all those gaps between the cookies with the mixture. once we're ready with the first layer, we're going to start adding the second one. And you don't really have to press the cookies very hard. If you press them, your pie will become very compact and it will be a bit dry maybe. So you can put the cookie, press a bit on it. You want to make sure it goes a bit down on the mixture so you can add several layers. I'm using also a pie thing that is not very high. If you would like something smaller but higher, you could also do that. Basically, how thick you like it depends. It's totally up to you. I prefer to make it about 3 or 4 layers tops, because then you will have a nice fresh pie. It's not going to be too much. It's going to be fresh and it's going to be still moist and nice. Once you're ready with the second layer, you can again add some more of your mixture. We are going to repeat the exact same procedure. You take a spoon and you spread the mix around, and you continue to add layers until it doesn't fit anymore. My pie is ready at this point. I'm just going to top everything with some cinnamon. I'm using this powder, just shake it a bit, make sure you get enough everywhere and it's even, so you don't have chunks with more or less. It will give a really nice flavor, really nice presentation. And my pie is ready with 3 layers. The only thing I still need to do is put it onto the fridge. I'm going to put it in the fridge. If you do it one day before, it's going to be perfect by the time you cut it. This has been on the fridge already for around 24 hours. The texture is really nice. It's still creamy, but it's quite firm. It's going to be easy to cut. It looks beautiful. It's fresh. I remember my mom doing this very often when we have people outside. We were having maybe a grill or having some food on the terrace, and then you finish your meal with a fresh lime pie. It's quite nice because in Mexico it used to be quite hot days, and having a fresh dessert is really, really nice. This is my version of a lime pie. This is something that was very popular in Mexico, at least I would say maybe like 10 years ago. You would see this everywhere you went. It became very popular because it's so easy to make. You only need a few ingredients. It's very easy. You don't need to bake anything. These cookies are very cheap. At least in Mexico, I think here they're quite cheap also. And it's really nice. It's really nice, especially for summer, especially for hot weather, warm weather. It's very refreshing, but at the same time, it's very sweet, but not overtakingly sweet. If you take the mixture, you might be worried it's a bit too much, but after you cool it down, give it maybe a day in the fridge, it's really good. It works really nicely. The cookies are also not way too sweet, so it's a nice balance. And just try it at home. It's really simple, really nice. The cinnamon gives a very different twist. I like it a lot. If you don't like cinnamon, some people just smash the cookies into powder and just put them on top for decoration. You can do whatever you want. I've seen many versions of this with other flavors, but I think this is the easiest. Very basic, very nice. Try it at home. Press like, subscribe, activate the bell and everything, and see you in the next one.